Hey, yeah, you. Do you want to know a secret? Oh, you do? I was not expecting you to say yes. Okay, follow me. Hi, I'm Kathleen, and last week I shared with you my How to Thrift for Dummies guide. This week is part 2, where we're leveling up and diving deep into the tips and tricks of treasure hunting at the thrift store. And it gets better. I asked y'all to share your favorite tips in last week's video, so we have a ton of amazing crowdsourced tips from this lovely army of thrift goblins as well. Without further ado, let's do this thing. Secret tip number 1, let's talk road trips and thrift shop stops. I love thrifting when I'm traveling. It's the best way to get souvenirs for yourself and for other people. But let's take it a step further. If you're taking a road trip, you can plan your pit stops, aka potty stops, around, you guessed it, thrift stores. Okay, I know this is like next level thrifting obsession, but hear me out. Map out your trip and search an area, I don't know, 100 miles or so down the line for Goodwills in that area. It's important that it's Goodwill because I learned this from Miscellaneous Papayas, but Goodwills always have public restrooms. Isn't that an amazing piece of information? However, there is a caveat. I think it has to be like a freestanding Goodwill like this and not a strip mall Goodwill like this, because I learned this the hard way. The strip mall ones don't always have bathrooms. And you get to take a little thrift stop on your monotonous road trip. I actually did this during my recent road trip to DC, and I gotta say, it was incredible. Okay, let's talk more about maps and thrift stores. If you visit thrift stores often enough in your area, you kind of get a good feeling about what's good where and what locations are more slim pickings. For example, I know that Village Discount Outlet has great purses and great shoes, but their furniture and home goods aisle is abysmal and cursed. So, make yourself a little treasure map. I have my local thrift stores pinned on a custom Google map with notes on each location, and I refer to it all the time because I'm horrible with directions and I always forget which thrift store is which. Also, take it to the next level and do this while you're traveling. I did this in Japan, and now I have a bunch of different thrift stores pinned in Kyoto and Tokyo and Osaka, so if I ever go back or if anyone needs a recommendation, I can help them out. You could also watch my Guide to Thrifting in Japan video if you'd like more information on that as well. A few of y'all also mentioned getting to know your local thrift stores and what's good at each of them in the comments last week, so thank you, we were on the same wavelength. And finally, let's check out thrift stores that are off the beaten track. This was a popular idea in the comments as well, and for good reason. I love going to a more rural location, a little mom and pop stop in the middle of nowhere, and I'm thinking it would be fun to do that in a video soon. That's where I found these amazing Ferragamo booties for like $3 and my famous or infamous Thunder Bear t-shirt. Okay, let's move on to something that was a very hot topic in last week's video. Care instructions and dry clean only tags. I mentioned in last week's video that when I see a dry clean only tag at the thrift store, it doesn't really bother me because I have a couple tips up my sleeve. Well, I have a couple tips on how to take care of more delicate items. Bottom line, if it says dry clean only or you just want to be a little bit more gentle, we're going to want to stay away from heat at all costs. This might be out of an abundance of caution, but I air dry almost all of my laundry. I thrifted one of these little folding drying racks, and it's my best little laundry buddy. Great investment. But let's back up and talk about finicky natural materials like linen or wool or silk. If the item has no stretch like linen or silk, I'll just throw that in the washer on a delicate cycle and then hang it up to dry. It might get a little wrinkly, don't be scared, it's natural, and it's nothing a little steamer or iron can't fix. Now if we have stretch in our knit, maybe we have like a grandpa sweater, you could put it in a delicate wash on cold, but you're going to want to air dry that bad boy flat, because if you hang it up, it might shrink up from the bottom, and we don't like shrinkage. Finally, if there's something that you just do not even want to chance thrown in the washing machine, there's nothing that a little spot cleaning won't fix. I'm very fond of just wetting the area that you need to clean and scrubbing it in the sink with a little bit of detergent or dish soap, like the pits or a little food stain. It's quick, it's easy, and no one's gonna know. How would they know? Oh, also in the comments, a lot of fine folks had great ideas about cleaning thrifted finds, so I'm gonna put them up here, pause, take as many screenshots as you need, and I think I'm also gonna try and compile everything into a Google Doc that I can link down in the description so we can reference our thrifting Bible whenever we need to. Alright, that was entirely too much talking about laundry. Let's talk about something fun. like presents. I love gifting from the thrift store, and I'm not just talking like holiday presents or birthday presents. I'm talking gift wrapping as well. We talked a little bit about this last week by saying you should try and find greeting cards at the thrift store, but it goes so much deeper than that. For example, there are so many little trinket dishes to pair with jewelry, or tons of little containers that you can use as gift boxes. You can use scarves as wrapping paper, or even pages from old books. In my household, we've actually made it kind of like a holiday tradition to use the same scarves every year for wrapping presents. It's wholesome, it's sweet. We like it. And Mal and C also had similar ideas about finding one-of-a-kind like housewarming gifts or host gifts at the Thrifty, and I could not agree more. Next, let's talk about shoes. I have found treasures galore by looking at all of the shoes in all of the sections, not just the women's section. And Emily has had a similar experience. I've found brand new athletic shoes, Converse, even Doc Martens, just by looking in the men's and kids section as well. This is where knowing your European shoe size comes in handy because it's listed on most shoes and it's consistent throughout. Okay, let's dig into community submissions. The comments on the last video are a veritable sacred text of thrift tips and secrets and hacks and all the things. So I don't know, next time you're bored, you can just go back and peruse the comments on that video because it is a gold mine. And I'm gonna try and make this a little more rapid fire because there are so many good tips, so buckle in, baby. Let's start with hidden treasure. A lot of folks had advice about where you might find treasure around the thrift store that you might not immediately think of. A lot of people said look in pockets, look in purses, look in bags, because you might find a little trinket. Here's an example where they found a camera inside of a shoulder bag. That's a steal. You could find rolled up money. You could find a business card from the 60s. I think there is legitimately something in this bag. Let's find out together. A really cool pencil. Why do I love this? You could find other things, like that time I found a condom in a boot. Remember that? Katya recommends looking through like the pillowcases and the sheets because you can find hand embroidered pieces, which if that's not a bougie flex for your guest room, I don't know what is. It's not my monogram, but it's somebody's monogram. Lots of folks recommended looking through the linens and the sheets for just fabric to use in sewing projects. I especially liked Heikonen's tip about using cotton infinity scarves because it's just a huge piece of fabric that you could upcycle into anything you want. Some things to look for in the kids section might be like vintage playing cards. Maddie likes to use them as gift toppers or just to keep in your bag the next time you're out with your friends. You want to be known as the friend who always has the cool playing cards with them. That's a good friend to be. Despair! And Von Klutz and Pauza both recommended looking through the bags and the jewelry in the children's section if you want to find something like really unique and kind of kitschy, maybe a tiny little Lizzo bag moment. There was a lot of love for the frame and art aisle at the thrift store in that comment section, and I'm a big believer in this as well. Pretty much all of the art in my home is thrifted, and definitely all of the frames are thrifted as well. You can easily swap out any artwork, although Radish for Breakfast reminds us to check to make sure that the art is easy to get out, because if it's like professionally matted and framed, it can be a pain to swap out that art sometimes. And speaking of art, Dana and Umber both say that you can find awesome art at the thrift store by looking through the books. Specifically, if you can find like a larger format coffee book, you can X-Acto blade out a spread from there for some high quality prints, or like a vintage calendar you could use. And back to the coffee book, that doesn't mean you can't then still use it as a coffee book just because you cut out a page or two. Come on. We're being resourceful here. Carla and Ricky recommended using cool vintage plates and trays under plant pots, or using cute glassware and mugs as like propagation stations. So sweet. And now it's time to talk about candles. Contagious Pixie looks through the bagged sections at the thrift store in search for unused tea lights, which I think is a great idea. I love finding cool taper candles and big like outdoor candles at the thrift store, although I'm careful to make sure that they seem naturally made, like soy or beeswax, because these candles can be really old and might not have like the ingredients listed on them, and I don't know. I want to be careful about the things that are burning in my house, but they could also stay decorative as well. Alright, still on the treasure hunting theme, let's talk about treasure hunting on the clothing racks. Jojo Bird says that when looking through the dress section, you can look at the bottom because you might be able to spot jumpsuit legs peeking out of the bottom that you might not see when you're just flicking through the rack. Also, speaking of dresses, Sunflower says that if you go through the dress rack, kind of running your fingers over it and look for shoulder pads, That's a great way to find vintage gems. I love this tip and I'm definitely going to use it next time I'm at the thrifty. Finally, Marie mentions that sometimes the plus-sized items can get mixed in with the maternity section, so make sure to go check there as well. Next, let's talk about QAing our thrift store finds. Lots of folks recommended checking the seams, checking for holes, checking for stains, but a couple people recommended giving it the sniff test, which I think is a very important sense that I didn't mention last week. Some stinks can be removed with like vinegar or OxyClean, but things like cigarette smoke are nigh impossible to get rid of, so you probably don't want to grab those. Oh, also I love this tip from YT Knits. You can hold thinner items up to the light to try and find holes easier, which mind blown. Oh, and if you do see a stain on an item, if you have a Tide pin with you, you can apply it while you're at the thrift store, and even if it lifts the stain a little bit, that means you have a good chance of being able to get rid of it at home. Thank you, Barb, for this amazing tip. You are a wizard, and I love you. Okay, let's talk seasonality. Luna, Ilsa, and Jenna all recommended looking for items off-season. For example, you might find a gorgeous winter coat in the middle of summer that everyone is passing up because they don't have a big brain like you do. And that's easy treasure that you can hold on to for a couple months and then rock once it gets cold. Oh, also, a few people recommended checking thrift stores in areas around your state or your country that are more touristy. For example, if there's a ski resort nearby or a beach town, checking the thrift stores around there, you're gonna strike gold because people are coming for vacation, they're getting their seasonal items, and then they might be sending them off to the thrift store instead of taking them home. I noticed this big time when I was thrifting in Denver a couple months ago. The amount of North Face and Patagucci I saw on the racks was wild, I'll just say it. Also the vintage activewear. That gets 3 kisses from me. Okay, 4. Next, we'll talk about the mystical world of the men's section. My friend Maggie over at My Size Magpie says, for my plus girlies, you can find some of the best jeans, shorts, button-ups, graphic tees in the larger size ranges, and they are usually priced a little bit lower in the men's section. The nerve. Okay, this tip is for people who love knitting, and it is god tier. This one is from Tess. She says you can find amazing high quality cotton and wool yarn at the thrift store. It's just in the form of knitwear and sweaters that you need to unravel. It's cheaper than buying low quality yarn from Joann's, and it's more sustainable. Tess, I like the way you think. Also, it looks like ramen noodles when you take it apart, and that makes my brain very happy. All right, let's quick fire some miscellaneous tips. Our good friend Lammy recommends hitting the shoes first because that means you have longer to walk around the store wearing the shoes to make sure that they're actually comfortable. This is a next level play. And next, I've heard of the waist trick where you test to see if pants will fit you by putting the waistband around your neck, and if they touch, theoretically they will fit, but that doesn't work on everyone's body. But I heard a couple times in the comments about the belly button trick. So it's similar, but you're taking the waistband from your belly button to the middle of your spine, and apparently it's a little more accurate. I would have to try this out first to make sure it works for my body specifically, but it sounds promising. And finally, potentially our most powerful tip, we saved the best for last. The goal with thrifting is to have fun, and you don't have to buy anything to achieve that. No buy is okay. No buy okay. It can be super tempting to buy a cart full of items just because they're cheap, and it can be really frustrating to not find anything and get totally skunked. And we want to try and fall somewhere in the middle, where we're finding things that serve us and that we need in our personal style journeys without forcing anything or falling into overconsumption. I actually have a challenge series here on my channel called Thrift With Me, but I can only buy one thing. I know, it's very elegant. And I'm tempted to do it again soon, and maybe we won't even buy anything. If that sounds interesting, then please feel free to subscribe so you can be notified when I post my next edition of that challenge. And that brings us to the end of our thrifting seminar. Give yourselves a little pat on the back. You have officially become a stinky little thrift goblin. I'm so proud of you. You grew up so fast. If you missed part 1 of this series, you can watch it here, or you can check out another one of my thrifting videos. I think next week we're going to be doing a little bit of a cheeky thrift flip, so stay tuned and don't forget to pick up your certificate in the back on your way out. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Oh, and you're very stinky. Bye.